2 of a kind? 3 of a kind? 4 of a kind? Even 5 of a kind? We're not talking wild card poker. Come back after the titles and find out what I am talking about. Hey everybody, Anthony Dodge, the model train outsider, the American outsider, back with a little bit of a different video. Is it best hand poker? No, but let me kind of explain what I'm doing here. I was putting all my locos and cars away, clearing off all the tracks so I can clean the tracks. I've been running the cleaners all day today, and then this evening after dinner I will come down and start scrubbing with my foam rubber splonger. But yeah, I always put my locos together by company and class. And I just kind of realized for the first time since I've done this, I had everything put. I was like, wow, I do have a lot of class 218s. I have a lot of Taurus now. And so I thought, rather than do a meet the fleet bit, which I did a few months ago, I thought I'd have a little fun and put out all locos from the same class and just look at the different liveries real quick. Just put them as a group, and then for myself, and then I thought, what the heck, I'll make a video of this and film it, because originally I was just going to put a few pictures up, but I thought I'd make a video. And you guys, why don't you join in if you want? And I hope this doesn't come across as like showing off or something. I know I have been lucky in the last few years that I really have been able to acquire a lot of locomotives, and there are guys that only have, and women that only have 5 or 6, or there are others that have 200, 300. So I'm not trying to show my whole collection. I just, the key here is it's locomotives where I have at least 3 of a kind. So I have 3 of a kinds, 4 of a kinds, and 5 of a kinds here. And I just thought, which group is the coolest? And not by type of locomotive, because that will always lead to an argument. You know, some people are diesel, some people are steam, some people are electric. But be that as it may, I thought I would just throw the groups together and just kind of look at them as a mass and decide which one I thought was the coolest. I've got my German workhorses, the class 218 all-purpose locomotive. It's used in freight hauling, it's used in heavy freight hauling, it's used in high-speed passenger trains and even regional trains. It's kind of a general purpose. It'll do everything. It'll run the ICs, the intercities in Germany. It'll run the German ECs along with the Class 101 electric. And it also runs like some of the Swiss ECs that are running back and forth to and from Germany. So I got the Class 218s out and take a look at those and see, do they look kind of cool as a group. And then I got my Taurus, the E64, all Austrian service ones. I've yet to get a Taurus, which I'm trying to remember what the nomenclature is. It a Class 183 in Germany? The Taurus works as a Class 183. But anyhow, I got my 5 Austrian Taurus out because I've got 5 of those. I've got 5 Vectrons, so another 5 of a kind. 4 Class 193s and 1 Class 249, the dual power, dual purpose one. And just kind of have a look at them. And then a couple of groups where I have 3s of. So anyhow, I just wanted to see these as a group for the first time. I've never done this where I've just put all the same locos out and then just kind of looked at the different liveries they have. So that's what I'm doing. And in the comments section, if you want to have some fun, you pick which group you thought was kind of the coolest group. Not in terms of style of locomotive, not in terms of class, because there are guys that just love the Vectrons, but just maybe look at, as a group picture, who took the best group picture, okay? So again, just a little bit of fun with that. So I hope you don't mind. Have a look, and we'll see you on the flip side. So here are my 5 Class 218s. The front 3 are Americans. The back 2 are Rocos. So we'll come in close. This is the famous American Piko Combi. It's got black Piko on the front. And white and red Märklin on the back or the front, depending on how you want to look at it, for the A.W. Caucus charity. Then a standard class red 218. Verkehrsrot, as it's called. And then the classic ocean blue and cream. And then we have from Roco, we've got the Presnitzbahn blue, which is what got it into my collection. I just thought this was a different livery from the standard colors you see. And then my Roco red, which I wasn't thrilled with its running performance. It runs okay, but it's not a strong puller and doesn't like my inclines. And actually, there's a story behind this one. They put it into production, they canceled it, and then they re-released it with a slightly different code number, the same basic 5 numbers, but then an add-on .0001, and they still had some problems with it. So, that is my collection of Class 218s. So here is the Vectron fleet. 3 Rocos in the front, 2 Märklins in the back, 4 Class 193s, and then a Class 249 dual power Vectron. But this is the set, and definitely Vectrons, I think, more than any other locomotive that I have seen in Europe, are the ones that seem to just get the ads. I mean, Roco and Piko alone have released probably 120 different variations on top of the couple of Märklin has released. But just absolutely, this is a very popular locomotive. These guys are just one of the top favorites among newer modelers that I've seen. The Vectron just does something to a lot of people. They really love their Vectrons a lot. And as you can see, we've got the multinational versions, we've got the binational versions, and the dual power. Just an amazing group of locomotives, and hard to believe that just a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I didn't have any Vectrons, and now I'm up to 5. Will I add more? Only time will tell. The Czech here, Flix Trains, a private Regio company, and then the MRCE, a couple of them. Wir brennen für das, was wir tun. We're burning for what we do. And wir bringen die Kraft von 8,700 Pferden auf die Schiene. We bring the power of 8,700 horses to the rails. And then the dual mode. So just, it is a nice collection if I do say so myself. And here we have the Taurus collection, the E64 unit. We have a Jägendorfer collection. We have a Czech Railjet by Piko, which is probably the best Piko locomotive I've ever owned. We have my third oldest vehicle, my second oldest locomotive, the Austrian Railjet, running smooth as ever after 8 years. We have the new Czech Railjet that I got a few months ago in the Austrian Automotive Club Association livery. And then we've got the standard Taurus in its Austrian red. A great collection, and it really is a contest to me as to whether it's the Vectron or the Taurus that gets the most advertising liveries. Because the Vectrons are more widespread across more countries, whereas the Taurus really is Austria, Germany, and I think to a degree in Hungary. It's hard to tell, but definitely the Taurus have become great advertisers, especially when Austria and Germany were celebrating the conductors' birthdays, 250th anniversaries, the Mozart, which is always one I've wanted, the Beethoven I have here. These actually do play music in real life as well as the model I have. There's the classic Austrian Railjet. I'd like to add a night jet version to that. Great collection, just wonderful looking locomotives all the way around. You can't go wrong. The Taurus is potentially my favorite locomotive. Some people love the Vectrons. There's something about the simplicity and yet rounded curves of a Taurus that I just like. So there is the Taurus. Give a couple more shots this way. And come around that way. There you go. All right, now here is a more utilitarian class. This is the class 146 with an extra, the class 147, which was designed to come in and replace the 146s. So technically that's not a 146, it is a different design, but it's technically part of this class. These are all 146-2s, except for this guy in the front, which is a 146-5. The 146-5s are simply 146-2s with improved suspension and braking system to handle high speed, because these are your primary locomotives for the IC2s, which started running about 8-9 years ago in Germany. Now they also have 147s in this livery as well. And you now have some 218s in this livery. So it's expanding what can pull the IC2s. But we have it in the IC2 livery, the Metronome, which is a private regional company that operates in northern Germany. It runs basically between Hamburg, Bremen, and Hamburg, Osnabrück. And then you have this wounded warrior, as I like to call him. He's got a little piece of his pantograph that is broken, so it doesn't sit anymore. If I could get the replacement piece, I would get to sit or something I could replace it with. But anyhow, this guy's claim to fame is he is my oldest locomotive. I have had him since February of 2016. He was the second model vehicle I got after my ICE3 and my first locomotive. And then the class 147 in the back. So you don't see these necessarily in as fancy or fun liveries as you see the Vectrons or even the 218s or the Taurus. But enough companies use them. You get them in a few varieties. Just your utilitarian, regional, and in some cases high-speed passenger service. Now I will say, if we come in and look at the 147, you can see the difference. I love this front end. They did this on the 147s and the 187s. And then basically you have this like corrugated siding, which is the same thing as what's on here. They just don't have the additional panel on the side, so it's kind of an exposed side. But I did like that. When this 147 came out, I loved it. Now, The reason you don't see it a lot on my layout is it's not a great polar, especially up the incline. It's probably my, along with my 102, it's my weakest American locomotive. It runs fine on the flats, and if you give it just about 4 cars, 5 cars at most, it handles them, but it cannot go up the incline with any cars on it. So there's my Class 146 and a Class 147. Okay, here you see 2 of my 3 Class 101s, the standard Verkehrsroute service, and then one with design. Because next to the Taurus and the 218s, the Class 101s probably get the most livery changes, get the most design and add liveries on them, and probably because they are omnipresent. The 101s are used for high-speed traffic, so you will see them pulling the ICs and the ECs. Occasionally they'll be roped into other duties, but these guys are primarily high-speed passenger service. So the German ICs and German-run ECs, as well as ECs from other countries on the return journeys back to those countries in many cases. So again, much like the 146s, the tracks look very utilitarian, but what makes them stand out is when they get these very cool liveries. This is one of my favorite liveries. This is one of my favorite locos. This is one of my strongest polars. Just fast, strong, and looks good with whatever rake I put them onto. Also a very strong polar. Now there is one 101 that I don't have here, so I'll insert a picture. It is currently boxed up, and it hasn't been on my layout in over a year since I broke its bogie. It was in a crash and then kind of got knocked over physically. There's no dents or scars to the paint, but the front end lights don't work, and the bogie, I have tried to fix that bogie, but it looks like it broke a soldering point and needs some more professional work than I could give it. But I have tried to fix it, and it just clunk, 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 clunks when it goes running. So it needs the front bogie taken care of. And it's been boxed up for a year, waiting for me to send it out, and I just don't send it out. I really need to get off my rear end and send it out. Okay, so there's a look of the locomotives where I have 3 or more. I have 3 or more of the same locomotive, which blows me away. I am forever grateful that my life circumstances changed so much in the last 6-7 years that I could really, as I got into this model train hobby, really be able, because when I started this hobby, it's like I can have one 146, I can have one Taurus, I could, and I had to have ridden on a train pulled by it. And now those rules are long since broken. And again, I hope this didn't come across as being showy. I love it when other people display their warship class or Duchess class or, coronation class, princess class, whatever. And whatever you have. So, on that note, thanks for watching, and I'm going to say, auf Wiedersehen, tschüss, and happy trains. Take care, everybody.